And what was your favorite meal?
My favorite meal was breakfast. I think they always had an omelet station, which was good, and you had omelets and toast and bacon, and it was good. That was a good.
So did you ever have to eat any of like the army rations or the?
Sea rats. I had a time that we were on the small boat. We were in Puerto Rico, and they gave it to us. We didn't have to eat it, but we took it, and we tried it, and it wasn't good. So
And what was the worst thing you ate?
the worst thing I ate, I think it was that hot dog with sauerkraut. That
Sorry. I have to take this all out.
Oh, I didn't like it.
My red poppers are like, what the hell?
Can you go grab me like a drink?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you guys have enough supplies?
Did we have enough supplies? Yeah, we had enough supplies for the mission. Yeah, we did. I mean, we never. I mean, we had a budget, and we had to stay with the budget. And again, now you're talking. When I was a low rank, I didn't understand that. I just knew we had the material to do the job. But when you went up in the command area, or the command, the chief position, now you're dealing with budgets, and you're dealing with making sure that you have money for emergency repairs and stuff like that.
And did you ever feel any pressure or stress?
Always. I always was pressure in a sense of making sure that my unit was ready to go. That was the pressure. It wasn't stress. It was you train to make sure your unit is ready. So when your unit is ready, you're okay. When you start having problems with the unit, then you have pressure and stress on you.
And were there any instances where there were problems?
Yeah, we had small boat. We lost rudders control. The cable broke. On the buoy tender, we had problem with our control pitch propellers. On the Point Bonita, the patrol boat, we blew a piston, so we had to pull in. I mean, we had casualties, but we were trained to repair those casualties as quick as possible.
Okay, and how did you handle the pressure?
Well, again, I was handling I had pressure on me to take care of my job, but I had not just me. It was the whole unit. So it wasn't. I mean, it's hard to explain. Everybody's working towards a common goal. So if you're stressed out, somebody's gonna pick up the slack for you. And when that person becomes stressed out, you pick up their slack. So it's not like stressed out to the point where you're pulling your hair. So it's I don't know, I don't know if it's good stress, but it's a challenge, and you accepting the challenge to make sure that your unit is ready to go.
Okay, was there ever anything special you did for good luck before you went out on a mission?
did I do something before we went out on the mission? Yeah, I took seasickness pill, so I won't get seasick. Sometimes it gets bad out there.
Okay. And how did people entertain themselves?
We had VHS cassette movies. We had that. On the bigger ships, on the cutters, we used to get movies from like movie projectors, like projecting those movies, and we used to play the movies on the ship.
And what kind of movies?
I don't know. What movies that we saw like that? I don't know. Movies that just came out of the movies. I mean, you know, give you an example, Star Wars. You know, when Star Wars came out, you know, a couple of years later, we had Star Wars. You know, but I don't think it was Star Wars. But it was something like that. It was movies. You know, they just came out of the theater.
Okay. And then were there entertainers on the boats?
No, we entertain ourselves. We used to play practical jokes sometimes at each other. You know, like tie the guy's boots in knots. Put shaving cream in people's hands so that when they put their hands in the face, they're sleeping. You know, stuff like that. You know.
Okay. And did you see any USO shows?
No.
And did you go on leave?
Did I go on leave? Yeah, leave is like vacation. So sometimes I take, you know, like Christmas, we take leave for Christmas. So we leave the unit, you know, for Christmas vacation or whatever. So.
And where did you go?
Went home. Went to visit my mom in New York City.
And do you recall any humorous or unusual events?
Humorous and unusual events. Besides the practical jokes that we've done, you know, the only thing that popped in my head when you asked me that question was on the patrol boat we had a vessel from, what was it? It was an Oriental vessel. Okay, it was the Orient, and they were doing fisheries here. So they were trying to do background checks or, you know, checks on the crew. So the crew's name were in Chinese. So they were trying to say the Chinese name over the radio. So it was funny because we couldn't get the names across the radio, and it was like, you know, no, ching chung wow, no, you know, it was. I was listening to it, and it was funny. So that was a memorable time.
And you said you guys played pranks on each other. What kind of pranks?
Well, we had this on the Sturgeon Bay. It was the three of us. There was three enlisted guys. It was me and two other guys, and we made rules. We cannot touch anybody's stuff either in the locker. But if you leave it out, it's open game, right? So they left their uniform out. So I had duty that night. So from my duty, I stood the watch from 8 to 12. So from 8 at night to midnight, I was on watch. So I had to walk around the boat and stuff like that. So I saw their uniform. So I said, how could I get these guys? So I took the buttonholes and I sewed them up. So, and I put the uniforms back up, the hangers, right? So the next morning, they were getting dressed. So I'm over there drinking coffee, talking to them. So how was your night? You know, I was So of course they had a couple of they drank the night before. So they're trying to put the clothes on, and they're trying to put the the buttons and they can't get it. I said, what the hell is this? So they figured out that I sold all the buttonholes in their shirt, so they couldn't get the uniform on, so they had to get a whole new uniform, stuff like that. You know, it was tie the boots up, you know, silly stuff like that. But it was something that broke the monotonous of.
Okay, and what was the worst prank that was pulled on you?
The worst prank that was put on me? I was sleeping and it was on the cut of Tampa. I was sleeping and I had the mid watch, I think it was. And when you have the watch, you tell the guys before that are up to wake you up, right? So you usually want to wake up a half an hour early. So you can brush your teeth, put on your uniform, grab a cup of coffee and whatever, okay? So they put their radio inside in the back of my pillow, okay? So they put on and they call my name, Eddie, wake up. So I get up and say, oh yeah, thanks. And I'm looking and say, what the hell? So I thought I was dreaming, so I go back to sleep. So they do it again, Eddie, wake up. And I'm like, what the hell is that? So I'm looking for who the hell is calling my name. And now there's the middle of the night, you know, we're on patrol, there's nobody else awake but now me, because I'm trying to figure out who the hell is talking to me. So I'm thinking, I'm losing my mind, you know. The two guys were on the others just laughing, because every time, Eddie, and I'm looking, I said, what the hell? Then I found the radio. It was funny, but it was, they got me really good on that one.
And what was the worst one you pulled on somebody?
The worst one I put on one. Let me see. I don't know. Maybe the one that I passed gas and called the guys in and locked them inside the room. They couldn't get out. They enjoyed the aroma.
Did you keep a journal?
No journal.
Okay, and what did you think of your officers and your fellow servicemen?
Respect. I had a lot of respect for them, and it was a camaraderie between us. I mean, you knew your place in the military. So something happens in this room, you look at the high-ranking person, that person is in charge. Now, that doesn't mean that he knows how to do the job right, but that means that he's the one that's in control and will help him to get us through. So that's, you know, it's an order, an organization that we all knew. So it doesn't matter where you're at. The highest ranked person get the respect, and he gives you the respect too. It's not that he abuses his position, but it's an order, and I miss that a lot from the military.
And did you ever have any conflict with your fellow officers?
Yeah. I mean, there's times that you have different viewpoints and different ways of doing things, and again, you're dealing with your shipmates, and you give them the respect, and you hopefully their ideas is a good idea. But sometimes, again, if you have the time to experiment and do the best way of doing it, or you take the guy with the highest rank and he's the one that's telling you, you know, how it's supposed to be done. And usually they have procedure cards, so that you know how to do the job. So arguments, you know, you danced with my girl, you took my boots, you know, stupid like stuff like that. But I don't think I ever had any big arguments or anything like that.
Okay. Where were you when your service ended?
Station in London.
And what was that day like? And what was the feeling when you were discharged?
Sad and happy. It was like it's like graduating from high school and you're going out. I lived 20 years. I'm in the Coast Guard. You know, there was a organization that was there and you followed it. Now you're going out to the civilian world and you don't know what the hell is gonna happen. So it's a scary moment, but a challenge. So.
And just to backtrack a little, what is it like when you're going into the service? Do you sign a contract with the military?
Yeah,
Or
you sign a
so
contract.
what was your initial contract?
My initial my initial contract was serve 4 years of active duty and 2 years of inactive duty. So it's a total of 6 years. You raise up your right hand and you take an oath for the service.
And now, how does that work when because you did 20 years of service?
Right, I did 20 years.
So does that mean you had to re-sign contracts?
Yeah, I had to re-sign contracts, and every 4 years I had to re-sign contracts.
And that was all by choice?
All by choice, yes.
Okay. And what was your homecoming like?
My homecoming, I lived here. This is the house that I was in when I was in the coast. When I was in Station New London. I had all my neighbors. They went down to the station. We had a farewell party, and they gave me a shadow box. They gave me my achievement medal, and we had a buffet. And the end of the day, I came home. Never had to go back.
And do you ever miss it?
Yes, a lot.
What do you miss about it?
The sense of everybody is working towards the same goal. I work now, and I feel like everybody's pulling their own direction. They don't have no common goal to try to move towards like for the unit, for the station, for your department. It's nothing like that out here. Out here is anything for themselves. There's no, I don't know, organization.
And what did you do in the days and weeks following your discharge?
Well, I took a long vacation. I went to see my sister in Virginia. No, in Washington. Was it in Washington? No, she was in Virginia. So I saw your aunt, my sister. Took a vacation down there. I found a job, and I started working.
And what did you find a job doing?
I was a HVAC mechanic for the school system in Hartford Public Schools.
And did you find it easy to find a job?
Yeah. I had I had that job before I got out. So I found the job. I applied for it. I told them that I get out this time period. I could start work after this, and I started working after that.
So how do you think your time in the military and your experience with it differs from somebody who's gone through combat? Somebody who's kind of been active and overseas.
In theater, I think when they come back, I think they feel like they're not appreciated as much as they should be. Um, a lot of people don't understand that when you're in the military, you sacrifice a lot, and maybe I didn't sacrifice that much because I was stationed in New York. I was stationed in Puerto Rico, but I know guys that were stationed in overseas, and they had to sacrifice years or two for that unit. Now just imagine you go in combat. I just imagine you go to combat. You go in, you fight for your country, and you come back. You can't find a job. You're you need assistance, and there's nobody there to help you. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're appreciated as much as they should be. You know, for the guys that go overseas.
And do you think you had a more traditional experience in the army? As what I mean by that is, do you think you had more of a kind of your experience in the army? Was that more of a traditional way that kind of people in the army have, or is it more kind of how it's portrayed in the media and news, or do you think that's a very specific case that's just kind of they shine a light on in the news?
The media and the news, again, that they're looking for a story. I mean, I think my experience in the military is a norm for us. You know, you live on the base. You have families on the base. You're always respectful. You're always careful. You always try to act proper. And I think I had a normal. I had my career was a normal career. I don't think I had nothing special or anything like that.
Okay. And did you go back to school?
I did some years in college. I did very good in English. But I'm not bragging about it, but I did a couple of classes. Never finished anything, but I did some classes.
That's the part.
Was your education supported by the GI Bill?
Well, I wasn't part of the GI Bill. I had the VEAP program, and I took my money out of the VEAP program, so I never had any financial help from the military or from the armed service. But the state of Connecticut does give us tuition-free education. So we had tuition-free education. We had to pay for books and the student fees, but the tuition was free.
And did you make any close friendships in the service?
Yes. My son's godfather was in the military with me. I have like 6 or 7 guys that I still stay in contact with. But yeah, we would. I have some friends from.
And do you still keep in contact with those people?
Yeah. I the one that my son's godfather, I lost touch with him, but I know I could find him. I think I sent him a Christmas card. I never get a return sender, but but yeah, we stay in touch.
Okay. And what did you do as a career after your service?
I stayed in maintenance, so I was a HVAC mechanic, and then I'm now I'm running a department for maintenance.
Okay. And how did your military experience influence your thinking about war or the military?
What's my influence in thinking of war and the military? I don't want us send our young men and women out to war. But I think that's a responsibilities that our country have. So if we have to defend, I rather defend my country at overseas versus having defended on our land. So I think we should always have our armed forces ready to go at all times.
And do you think your experience in the military affected your kind of your thoughts on that at all?
Yeah, you when you live it and you understand what's happening to those guys, you know what they're going through, and you could understand and appreciate what they're doing for us.
Okay. And did you join any veteran organizations?
I joined what's their name? It's not the veterans foreign the VFW. It was the American Legion. I joined the American Legions. I was part of with them, and then I'm a member of the Chief Petty Officer Association still, and that's about it.
Okay. Are you active in all of them, or just the Chief Petty one?
The Chief Petty Officer when I'm active, yeah.
Okay. And did you attend reunions?
Never saw one yet for for our units, for the unit that I served.
Okay. And have you ever since you left the military had contact with anybody that you served with?
Oh yeah, yeah. I went to a friend of mine's retirement ceremony out of Ohio. I still stay in touch with an individual that's out in Delaware. Yeah, we stay in touch. I still stay in touch with those guys.
And do you still have contact with anybody who you started with in boot camp?
Yeah, there's a guy named Springer. He's out in New London, and he's head of the grounds department in the academy, Coast Guard Academy. So I was one day there, and I saw him, and we went to boot camp together. So he's the only one that I know that I'm still in touch with from boot camp.
Okay. And how did your service and experiences affect your life?
I think it made me become more goal orientated. You know, that I have to have a goal to get to where I want to get. I treat people fairly. You know, I always want to be treated fairly, and I always try to treat people fairly. And I think in the military, you learn that you treat people with respect, and I think that I took out from the military a lot. I try to treat people as fair as possible, for respect for each other.
And how do you think it affected your home life?
My wife is the boss, so I don't have there's nothing that would change that. I don't care. I could be a general. My wife still told me what to do. So.
Okay, and now I just want to ask a couple questions about kind of the media's representation of war. Do you think the media, let's start with the news, for instance, how do you think their representation of the military in war is compared to the reality of it?
I think they get one side of the story. I'm not saying they're doing it wrong. I'm just saying that they don't know. They take a snapshot of a unit getting attacked or attacking somebody. That's all they get. But they don't. I don't think they get the whole picture of why they're doing that. What is the purpose of doing that? What is the importance of doing that? I mean, maybe there's intelligence that will be that they just received, and they have to act upon that. So I don't think the media will ever get the full picture or the full story of what they're doing out there.
Okay. And have you ever are there any war movies about war or the military that you feel accurately represent?
Well, I've never been in war, so I can't say yes, that's true. I I I I think Saving Private Ryan was one of the movies that was more, it was more heartfelt for me. Out of any other movies, I think that's the movie that hit home for me. I mean, they sending a band of guys to save one guy. That was their mission, and they did it. So.
And do you think those are accurate? Those are things, or that's a mentality that the army or the military.
I think so. I think it's a mission. You give a mission, you complete it. I mean, you do whatever you have to do to complete that mission. So there's no buts or if. It's you give a task. There's a mission. There's a task. There's a job. You got to do it. You do it. I mean, there's no way around it.
Okay. And now some of the changes that have recently kind of happened within the military, including kind of the don't ask, don't tell repeal. How do you feel about that?
I think it's going to be a learning curve for that. It's going to be something that the military have to learn. You got to have good order and discipline in the military, and if you're having and I don't think it's happening, but if you're having arguments or you're not gonna do something because that person's race, sexual orientation, religion, whatever it is, it's not gonna bring good order and discipline, then your unit's gonna fail. And I think that's the whole thing, is that they're not taking that aspect as it. Do I think they should serve? I think they should serve. I have no problems from the serving, and if they'll protect me and my unit, I have no problems with that. But it's the frame of mind that other people have to accept, to understand that we're all wearing green or blue. So that you gotta.
And no, in your time in the military, don't ask, don't tell was in effect.
Yeah, I was in the military back in '80s, so it was no don't ask, don't tell. It was you don't say nothing. If you say something, you got discharged. So that don't ask, don't tell came later. So.
And did you ever have any instances where somebody in your unit or something?
I never experienced it or seen anything like that. That I've seen. I've heard and know. Male and female getting together. But besides that, I never had anything like that don't ask, don't tell situation.
Okay. And Okay. And then is there anything else you'd like to add that hasn't been covered in the interview?
No, no. I hope I answered all your questions, and I don't look silly.
Okay, so with that, I'd like to thank you for your service and also for taking the time to be interviewed today.
Thank you for picking me.
Thank you.